Welcome to TLE News. I'm your host, NH Labduni, and welcome to another installment of What's Black in the News. Now, once again, Baltimore City Schools is in the news, this time for yet another abuse against a black student. Now, as you remember, or you may not even remember, last week, Baltimore City Schools was in the news because a teacher was fired for yelling at a predominantly black class, telling them that you are getting zeros for doing nothing, and later yelling, "Punk ass niggas going to get shot," when she attempted to remove a student from her classroom. Now, there was an uproar over that situation. Black parents stood up, black conscious community stood up, everybody stood up calling for the removal of this teacher, and she was later fired. Now, just this week, Baltimore City Schools is in the news again, and here is why. Roll that city school bean footage.
This was not how Latweeka Jackson expected to see her son after school on Monday.
Like, he only 7, a grown man, none of the teachers was there to help him. Nobody was there to help him, nobody. The principal, nobody.
Trayvon Grayson has a fractured jaw, 2 missing teeth, and another pushed into his gums.
I go looking at the ambulance truck, my son was sitting right there with his face big, mouth bloody, everything. Like, and I turned around to the man like, what happened to him? This not no regular restraint, what happened to him?
The tutor is an employee of the City Springs School charter operator, Baltimore Curriculum Project. He told police he physically removed Grayson from class for being disruptive. He carried the child out when he lost his footing, and Trayvon hit himself on the wall.
He can't throw himself into the wall and push his gums and his teeth back and fracture his jaw and all that by himself. He only 7 years old. He's so small, like he's not gonna do all that damage to himself.
Detectives are reviewing school surveillance footage, but it's still unclear how the child was injured. Baltimore City Schools is also looking into the incident, saying the district will take any action warranted once the investigation is complete.
I sent him to school thinking he's going to school to learn and be protected in their custody, and nobody was there to protect him. They couldn't even tell me where my son was at. My son was in the basement on the floor, bleeding, knocked out, didn't even know what happened.
Now on day 2 in the hospital, she's demanding answers.
I just want justice for my son.
And the tutor fired.
I just want justice for him. He shouldn't be able to work at nobody's school, doing that to nobody else's child.
In Baltimore, Joy Lambert, Fox 45 News.
So yes, there you have it. 7-year-old boy accidentally hits himself against the wall because a teacher was trying to restrain him and pull him out of class, and the teacher lost their footing. That is the story that the teacher is running with. But here's what the news is reporting. You can actually check this on our website, lyricalelitist.com. All the links will be in the description box to the article, to the videos, and everything like that. But here it is. In a most recent incident of child abuse, 7-year-old Trayvon Grayson was hospitalized after being slammed into a wall, face first by an aide trying to restrain him. Grayson has a fractured jaw, 2 missing teeth, and another pushed into his gums. That's a lot of damage for somebody accidentally losing their footing and a kid hitting themselves against the wall. But here's what I wanted to get into. There's actually several parts of this that I want to get into. First part being, we need black teachers, black instructors in front of these black students. Because we already know that these black students do not relate, or better yet, these instructors, these non-black instructors do not relate to the conditions and the destructive mindset that has been instilled in these black children, and are not able to get past that, to overcome that hurdle and speak to them in a way that will make them understand what exactly is going on and get them to do what they need to do. Now, what I'm going to say is going to be very unpopular, but it's the truth, and guess what? The truth is not for one side or the other. The truth is not for black or white. The truth is just the plain truth, regardless of whoever is involved. And the truth of the matter is, we already know a lot of our fucking kids are badasses. We already know a lot of our kids are raised up in these homes, single black mothers, in homes where aggression, destructiveness is rampant in these homes, rampant in these communities, rampant in these neighborhoods, in these hoods. It's rampant. And if you look at the statistics, children from single black mothers are predominantly prone to aggression, destructive behavior, aggressive behavior, not paying attention in school, disruptive behavior in class, things like that. Just last week, when we talk about the white teacher that was fired for addressing those kids, calling them niggers and saying they're all going to grow up to be shot, whether she was telling the truth or not is not the point, according to liberals. Whether she's telling the truth or not is not the point, according to these black parents. The teacher should not be addressing these kids in such a manner. Even though these kids address each other the same way. The kids listen to music that pertains them in that same fashion, in that same light. But because teachers are teachers and instructors and people of authority in places of instruction and leadership and supervisory role, they're not allowed to come across the same way that these students talk to themselves, the same way that these students are fed information just by listening to music and listening to others and the people that they keep company with. But that's just the problem. So you mean to say that these students can go ahead and call each other everything from A to Z, address each other every single way from A to Z, treat each other every single way they feel like, and there are no repercussions. These children are too entitled. Now, I'm not saying going around calling all these kids niggers and bitches and shit like that. No, I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that when are these kids going to take responsibility for their actions? Now, needless to say, I believe, based off the story with the poor 7-year-old kid that was being disruptive and got pushed into the wall and so on and so forth, I believe, yes, he was being disruptive. I believe he was being belligerent. I believe he was being aggressive. He got it from his black mother. You saw the video. It was just a black mom talking. She looked young as hell. She probably no more than 21, 22. Shit, maybe 25. I pushed 25 because he's 7 years old. But guess what? We already know in our community, we have a lot of young kids having kids. It's getting less and less. Why? Because, of course, with the rise of homosexuality. But that's not the point of the story. The point of the story is we have a black kid abused by an instructor in Baltimore again. And here's the backlash. Now, even though we say that parents need to take responsibility for these kids' actions, because we already know a lot of these kids, they don't know how to act. A lot of these kids, they're being fed the wrong information on how to behave themselves. They're being instructed improperly by their parents, by their music, by everything that's being fed into them. We know that. But at the end of the day, yes, the instructor is still wrong. The teacher last week, the guy this week, is still wrong. You're still not supposed to go ahead and abuse a child. Now he's saying he carried a child, trying to carry a child out of the classroom, and in attempts to do so, he slipped and the child hit himself against the wall. Really? 7 years old. He doesn't have that much body weight to him to create all that damage that he received during that incident. Now, we want to say that, okay, this is racism, it's all racism. It's not all racism. It's not all racism, it's not all white supremacy. Sometimes you just have an instructor that's fed up trying to be able to relate and deal with a black student because a black student is raised up aggressively, raised up a pain in the butt, raised up thinking that emotionally they will always be correct. You can go look many stories of black women, black single mothers doing wrong and justifying their wrong by saying, well, I felt this way or I felt that way. Black women are emotional. Black single mothers especially emotional. And if they're the only ones raising these children, these black boys are going to grow up to be emotional. Emotion is not wrong, but if you're not able to control your emotions and act accordingly, then there's a problem. Hence is the case with black women. Me and my brother were just watching not a documentary, but a TV show, Google Play. It was Queen Sugar. And it came to a point where Davis West's wife found out that her husband, Davis West, big basketball player in the show, actually was involved in a scandal with another woman who was claiming rape against the basketball team. First thing my brother said is, oh, what's she gonna do? What is she gonna do? Oh, I'm a black woman, the rules don't apply to me? And he hit the nail right on the head. Because guess what? When it comes to emotions with black women, rules don't apply to them. It's whatever they feel goes. I don't know if you saw last week, the video is going viral. Three black women get in a fight. What do? They use their cars to go bumper car each other. They're fighting with their vehicles. They end up running over a fire hydrant and running into some other things and crashing into each other multiple times. Fighting. Why? Guess what? Because when it comes to emotions, the rules don't apply to black women. Liberal media, America, has allowed black women to go ahead and go off these emotions and not think logically. Logically speaking, in this situation, yes, little Trayvon Grayson did not need to have his face smashed into the wall. He did not need to spend 2 days in the hospital. He did not need to have a fractured jaw, 2 missing teeth, plus another tooth pushed into his gums. He did not need to have that. But as parents, shouldn't you have instructed your child to behave in class, to not be disruptive, to speak when spoken to do what needs to be done, and go in there and get your education. As a 7-year-old, there's only so much disruption you can be bringing to the classroom that can be allowed. Really. But no one wants to talk about the fault of the parents. Nobody wants to say, well, the parents have to own up to their responsibility in these situations. All the blame is placed on these instructors. And granted, yes, these instructors did the wrong thing in response to. Reaction to. It was not the cause. It was a reaction. So you can't say white supremacy. You can't say racism. You can't say that. It was not the cause. It was a reaction to the behavior brought in by the student. That's just the way it is. Now, it would be a real story of racism, a real story of white supremacy and white people keeping the black man down and providing a sub-quality education if, in fact, little Trayvon Grayson was not being disruptive, was sitting in the classroom at his desk, doing the work as instructed, and out of nowhere, the teacher singled him out and went ahead and did that. Then you would have a story. Then it would be a cause for alarm. Then you would need to rise up and say something to the school board and the school administration. Then you would need to boycott or picket the public school system. Then you would have to go ahead and get Jesse Jackson or Al Sharpton or fucking DeRay McKesson or whoever from Black Lives Matter, since they don't have no real leader up front. Then you would bring them in. But in this case, and in the case last week, you have black students being what they are. Black students raised by single black mothers going off of just emotion, believing that the rules don't apply to them and they can just do whatever the hell they want and he suffered the consequences. Like Tommy Sotomayor likes to say, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. Plain and simple. Now, I could be wrong, but I sincerely believe that for all these stories with the public school system failing our black children, that many more parents need to go into homeschooling. That many more parents need to get together to school their children together. Plain and simple. That many more black students need a black figure in the classroom, whether male or female, preferably male since we've got lots of females, but preferably male, instructing them, especially in predominantly black neighborhoods. How are you going to have Cindy from some white suburbia come to the hood and try to teach these kids anything when she can't relate to any of the things that the children are going through? You see in the movie Dangerous Mind, it's not like Dangerous Mind. She's not going to understand. She's not going to come to the visit the parents' house, and she's not going to get all good with them. That's not the way it's going to be. This is real life. Life is not a movie. Movies imitate life and embellish. And in return, real life will look at the movies, take what the movie brings and embellish upon that. It's a vicious cycle. But needless to say, at the end of the day, the parents are responsible for their children's actions within the school. How can the teacher keep and maintain a safe educational environment if black students are acting up, causing a ruckus, being disruptive, being belligerent, calling everybody niggers, because that's the music that we let them listen to, that's the music that we promote, that's what we push, that's what they look up to? How do we expect these teachers to respond to those actions? You want them to respond like the way the parents do? Well, that's exactly what that white teacher did last week. She responded the same way a black parent would respond to these kids. But she got fired. If it was a black teacher, that black teacher would not. They would just call him a hater or a coon. But because it was a white teacher, it's racism. It's white supremacy. Oh, did I step on something I shouldn't be stepping on? It's the facts. It's the truth. Put a black teacher in front of these students, you'd have less of these stories, and you have more of these students getting their mind right. But that's just my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. If you feel that I'm wrong, you have an opposing view, feel free to comment in the comment section. The links to the story are in the description box. Make sure you go to our website, lyricalelitist.com, and you follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/lyricalelitist, and have a great day. Until then, peace, one love, rise up, RBG, Black Power for Life. But black lives don't matter if black lives don't make a stand. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, breaking news, breaking news. Have an update on the story of little 7-year-old Trevon Grayson at a Baltimore school. Now, previously, I was talking about how these black students, the black teachers in front of them, preferably male, but also a black female in front of them, that are people that are able to relate to these students that's coming out of these inner cities, these ghettos, these hoods, and not having little Cindy from white suburbia come over and try to teach them how to be civilized or educated. But breaking news out of from ABC 22 as well as from Fox 45 News. It has been reported that the Baltimore instructor that assaulted this child, or allegedly assaulted this child, is none other than a black guy. Make sure I get his name right. A black guy by the name of Timothy Randall Corr. K-O-R-R. And Timothy Randall Corr is being charged with first and second degree felony child abuse, first degree felony assault, second degree assault, reckless endangerment, and neglect of a minor. Not only that, he's also been fired from the Baltimore Curriculum Project, which is a City Springs Elementary School charter operator program for Baltimore City Schools. Now, does that change what I say previously? It does not. Because we can't paint everything with one single brush. Not everybody is good, not everybody is bad, not all white people are racist, not all black people are thugs and criminals. Not all. In a perfect world, black children would have black instructors to be able to instruct them properly. So that does not take away from what I was saying earlier in the video, that these children would benefit more and be able to relate more to someone who looks like them at the front of the class trying to instruct them. However, with Timothy Randall Corr, he is the exception to the rule. He is one of the exceptions. I'm pretty sure there are many out there, such as the special ed teacher out of the Mississippi school. I forget exactly what school. We did this story a couple months back. But there was a Mississippi school teacher, special ed school teacher, who was assaulting a girl in the school gymnasium while other school staffers, employees just sat back and watched, not really caring, not really paying attention, not really giving a fuck. So, yes, Timothy Randall Corr is black. Yes, they want to say he assaulted the child. That is the charges on the table. That is the accusation. But we must not forget also that these children, the number one instructors for these children should be the parents. One. We should not forget that. And if these children go to these schools and they act up, they are disruptive, they demean what's being done in the classrooms. They keep other children from learning. They want to act up. They want to cause a ruckus. They don't care about trying to learn, trying to get an education, trying to do anything better because of what's instilled in them at home. The fault still lies with the student and the parents. More so with the parents. Because I know for a fact, and I also said that she was a single black mother. I have to correct that. She was not a single black mother. A story did come out, a report did come out that the father is also present. Notice how white media threw the mother out first. Boom. Everybody ran with it. Single black mom, single black mom. ABC, Fox, CNN, whatever news channel you want to change to. It was there. Later on, the father came into the picture speaking his mind about what happened. So I take that back. She is not a single black mother. She has the father in the child's life. Good. Is the mother and father together? I don't know. The story doesn't go into that. It's irrelevant at this point. What's the point now is that, okay, you had a black instructor supposedly assault a child. Now, what you're not hearing, and only one news report I've seen report this, is that this child, little old Trayvon Grayson, allegedly had a BB gun on him at the time. Now, you know how law enforcement, police, like to treat kids with BB guns. Notice I said kids, not black kids, I just said kids in general. Even though you'll find more stories of black kids getting shot by cops when they have a BB gun, and then white kids, even though both play it at predominantly the same rate. Because it's promoted, is marketed to young boys. Guns, cowboys and Indians and so on, cops and robbers, you know the deal. Anyway, so in the ABC 22 news report, a defense lawyer for the city tutor accused of slamming the 7-year-old kid against the wall is saying that the officer's jilted view of what he saw is what's causing the charges. The tutor claims, now it's not in their arrest report. We don't know if they're going to bring it up. We don't know if they're going to just keep it under wraps for now. We don't know. Because the nurse, well, I'm not going too far. It is reported that little Trayvon Grayson had a BB gun. And when the tutor found out about it, he tried to deal with it as quickly as possible so no other students would be harmed, according to the story. So here's what's being reported. According to the defense attorney, Kurt Natchman, the incident was accidental and happened after 3 children told Mr. Kaur that Trayvon had a gun. When Kaur went to the hall and patted Trayvon down, the attorney said the tutor felt something in his pocket. You know how cops like to say that when they pat someone down. Oh, we feel something in the pocket. Don't know what it is, but we feel something in the pocket. Shoot, he had a gun. But anyway, felt that he had something in his pocket and picked him up to take him to the office. According to Kaur, the teacher, Trayvon was kicking and scratching him when he slipped, causing Trayvon to accidentally hit his head. The attorney says when Kaur took Trayvon to the school nurse, he pulled the pellet or BB gun out of Trayvon's pocket, and from that point, he never saw it again. Now, here's what's funny about that line, just that line right there. He said he pulled it out of the pocket and never saw it again, so what happened to the BB gun? Who hid the BB gun? If there was one there and you pulled it from his pocket, what did you do with it? Who took it? Is there some kind of chain of custody? Who has the gun? Where is that BB gun? Where is it? Now, the tutor also claims that the nurse also saw the gun, but like I said before, the pellet gun or BB gun was not mentioned in the police report. Now, I'm not going to say that only black kids play with BB guns. I see white kids, Hispanic kids, other kids playing with BB guns all the time. Shoot, I used to play with a BB gun and I wasn't even that young. I shot people with a BB gun and I wasn't even that young. Accidentally, on purposely, it doesn't matter. I shot people with a BB gun and I wasn't even that young. I was 7 years old. Now, to say that he didn't have a gun, that'd be kind of far-fetched. To say that he did have a gun, but there's no record of it, no one knows where it is, no one knows what happened to it, that seems kind of suspicious. Either Kaur is lying or somebody's hiding the gun. But no one no one has decided, or it hasn't been reported, what the nurse knows about the gun. If court says the nurse saw the gun, someone should be interviewing the nurse, the school nurse, and asking her what happened to that pellet gun or BB gun. But at this point in time, there is nothing available. No one has reported on it. If they asked her questions, then no one has posted her responses to it. Maybe if you're a conspiracy theorist, they didn't want to post it because it was true, and let's just go ahead and run with the story that Core did assault Trevon Grayson unprovoked, and Grayson did not have a gun. Or Grayson did have a gun, but everybody's being hush-hush about it. Who knows? But that's one thing that's one thing to consider when looking at this case, because we do not have all the facts in the case. Now, Timothy Randall Core's father decided to step out in court last Thursday, and he asked for a reduced bond, saying that the Core family, we're a tight-knit family, and Timothy Randall has not been in any trouble before. Now, that is one remarkable statement to make. If you can say Timothy Randall Core has never been in trouble before, these news outlets should be able to go ahead and run a search, pull up this so-called rap sheet to see if he has one. And if in case he did not ever get in trouble before, that should be something else to consider. What we're also not looking at is, has Grayson been in trouble before? Has he been repetitively disruptive in class? Does he have a record with the school system as far as being in trouble, being disruptive, causing a ruckus, disrupting the learning environment? No one's talking about it. No one's asking those questions. No one's putting it out there. But yet, people want to jump off what regular media, mainstream media says, and take whatever mainstream media says as gold, as Bible, as biblical. That's it. There are more questions than answers to the story. None of us were actually there to see what actually happened. And we can't necessarily go off surveillance footage if all they're going to give us is just a clip of what happened outside. Plain and simple. Maybe Grayson did have a gun, a pellet gun. Maybe he did. Maybe the Core and the nurse saw this gun. But what happened to the gun, if there was one? There was no in-depth pull for that. But hey, I'm just speaking my opinion on what I see that is being reported on the news. So at the end of the day, yes, there was a black teacher that assaulted a black student in Baltimore City schools, based off surveillance footage, based off news reports. What we don't know is what led up to those events. We don't know if Grayson had a gun, or a pellet gun, a BB gun. We don't know these facts. We don't know. What I encourage everyone to do is to try and find out that information. Seek that information out. Those that are in Baltimore that are closer to the situation, go find this nurse. Talk to this nurse. Find out what happened to the gun. If the cops don't want to talk about it, the news media don't want to talk about it, go find out what happened to this gun. Where the hell is this gun? If there is one. And if there is one, that does add another wrinkle to this story. Once again, I'm NH Labduni, TLE News. All the links will be in the description box. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/lyricalelitist. You can donate to TLE News at patreon.com/TLE News. Follow us on Blog Talk Radio, blogtalkradio.com/TLE News. I'm your host, NH Labduni, signing out.